Well, the spirit horse medicine, for me, I can only speak from my perspective, is an absolute ancient grounding, ancient wisdom. Horses have been with us for thousands and thousands of years, and they have provided in the past a source of transportation and work. They've pulled up our plows, and horses have the energy of the horse has always been through humanity, and so it's a connectedness. It's an absolute connectedness, and a real wild kind of freedom. You can all imagine, if you haven't rode a horse, with your hair blowing in the wind and riding off into the sunset kind of scenario, it really is like that. It is a sense of absolute freedom. So when you connect with the ancient wisdom of the horse, they have so much to offer. There's something in the pounding of the hooves and the resonation on earth that sound actually carries through into your heart. And I've been blessed enough to observe a horse dance in the Cree Nation back in my home, Saskatchewan. And the horses would get into a resonance of all their hooves pounding on the ground at the same time in sync. And it kind of sends you into a trance sort of state. So it's like the ancient drumming. It sends us into this state of new consciousness or a different consciousness. And from that place, you can access all sorts of wisdom, and it's an amazing zone to get into, and it's an amazing thing to feel. It's more a feeling quality for me than it is something tangible that you can hang on to. I grew up in a very alcoholic, trauma-based family. And the horses were always there for me. I could ride a horse before basically I could walk. I was on top of a horse from a very young age. And we always had really big ranch horses, so it wasn't like we were on little ponies. We were on real big, solid horses. And that power that they gave a child was amazing, a power that I didn't have as a child in my own home. They also gave me, like I was saying before, that sense of freedom, that if I needed to get away from my home environment to have some me time, I would just jump on one of my horses and ride off, and I knew that they would always have my back. I never got into any difficulties with my horses when I was in need of a horse. If I needed a horse in a work capacity and I didn't put the right structures in place prior to putting my foot in the stirrup, I would sometimes get into trouble because my intent was different and my energy would have been different. But as a child who was traumatized and I needed to have a friend, they were always there for me. So that's how they've helped me. Their energy has helped me. And I've translated that into supporting other traumatized children with their journey of healing through the wisdom and through that strength of the horse. When we're in a horse's space, when we're in their bubble, we have to be very accountable for who we are and what we bring to that relationship. If our energy is muddled, if our energy isn't clear, if we have any angst, the horse picks that up. They've been picking, that's how they've survived as long as they have in nature, is they are so intuitive and they're so in sync with even our heartbeat, our breath. They're in sync with all of that. So it's a matter of, when we're in their bubble, being in a space of as pure energy as we possibly can be. And of course, you might say, well, these traumatized children aren't in pure energy. They are, because they're authentic. They're being their authentic selves, and they might have some angst running, and they might have some fear in their lives. But when they meet the horse, that's not what the horse is meeting. The horse is meeting their pure soul. I got a glimpse, one of my horses gifted me a glimpse of what he sees when he looks at a human. And I was able to see through his eyes for a moment. And they don't see our physical form. They see the energy around us. They see, I guess, our aura around us. And that's what they judge whether they want to be in your space with or not. That's how they go, okay, well, I want to be with you, or maybe there's not, there's something there for me that's not going to serve me as a horse, so I'm going to walk away from that. And then it's up to the human to clean up their energy, clean up their aura, go, well, what's this about for me? In a really reflective but very deep way. And when the children come through the gate, they're so exuberant and they're so happy to be with the horses that their stories don't precede them. The horse sees who they are as that hurt little child, and they are able to accept them in their space much more openly than I have ever expected. We have a lot of fear around horses. There's a lot of fear around the size of a horse, for one thing. I mean, there are over 600 kilograms of pure muscle and strength, and so a lot of people have a bit of, some fear around that, about what they might do to them, and they don't understand that if they're in a good space with this horse, that their behavior will be impeccable, that they will accept that human, even with a little bit of muddiness in their oar or whatever, they'll accept that and not react to it. I think people's fear around horses maybe comes from a horse that might have been traumatized in some way in the past, diminished in some way in the past by humans, so they don't have trust and they react. They're like humans who've been traumatized. They get a reactive part of themselves, and that's their first port of call, is that reaction. Whereas if we are in a space with a horse where we're not diminishing, we're not demanding anything from it, we have no expectations, that just opens up that beautiful floodgate for that wonderful relationship of just being with them. We don't have to do anything else but just be with them. And so I support people who have fear with the horse in just learning to just be. And as they're being with the horse, they're learning also to be with themselves. If we have a fear of being with something, we have a fear inside of ourselves of being with ourselves. So it's just unfolding that, and the horse being there just in their presence, in their strength and their power, for people to unfold that level of fear. So many people, when they walk around behind a horse, they go like a mile behind. And I think it's really cute because, they've obviously been told by somebody that don't ever trust a horse, don't walk up behind a horse, don't be behind a horse or you will get kicked. Well, I know that that's not true. So, being in their presence can be somewhat challenging for people, but once they break through that barrier, that's when the true beauty starts. That's when the connection, that real soulful connection starts. And you go into the horse's world. It's not expecting the horse to come into the human world. It's us going into the realm of the horse. And the realm of the horse is magical. The realm of the horse is beauty, strength, power, all those things that as humans we need more of in our life. The horse teaches us how to embrace those qualities in ourselves. If we can recognize it in something else or someone else, if you recognize a quality in someone else, well, you do have those qualities in yourself. You just maybe haven't focused on them as much as you should be focusing on them. So it's just allowing that space of being in their presence, and osmosisly it kind of just happens. You feel stronger when you're beside a horse. You feel more powerful when you let go of that fear and you're in their presence. You feel the potential and the possibilities of what that environment can offer, and therefore what your life can offer you. It's a huge osmosis transfer of energy if you're open and you allow it, and you leave your fear at the gate. I always say to people when they come through the gate, leave yourself at the gate, and when you come through into the horse realm, be more horse-like. Be more horse-like, be more open, be more aware of things in your environment, but don't react to them, respond to them. And if there's nothing to react to, go back to grazing as quickly as you can. And grazing for a horse is eating. They love to eat. Anybody who knows anything about horses knows how much they like to eat. But that's because of their physiology, the way they're made up. They have to eat 16 hours a day. So they like to eat. So if we as humans can adopt that philosophy as going back to grazing, don't hang on to your stuff. Let it go. Don't be a ruminator. Be a horse and just let it go back to grazing and relax. Grazing is definitely feeding the soul, definitely feeding the soul. Whatever brings you joy, whatever fills your cup, whatever makes you happy, do that more. It sounds so simple, and yet it can be so complex for us humans with our we call our monkey brain that's telling us not to do these things. I call it the reptilian brain. In my trainings, I like to teach people about how their brains actually work. Coming from a traumatized background, I have a traumatized brain, and it doesn't work the same as everyone else's brain. It works a little bit differently, and I'm still going down that rabbit hole of retraining it and retraining it and retraining it. So if we can get out of our reptilian brain and into our conscious, more aware, and our mammalian side of our brain, where we're nurturing, where we're kind, where we have empathy and compassion, life is going to be better. But unfortunately, that can be a challenge, particularly people living, in cities and in busy environments. If you've got trauma, everything can trigger you into your reptilian part of your brain. It's been there for thousands of millions of years as well, and it's there to keep us alive. So it's always telling us, be aware, be aware, be aware. And that can be exhausting. And we need to learn how to shut that off. And when you approach a horse, you learn how to shut that off. You learn how to swap to your compassionate side of your brain. You learn how to be more empathetic. And it's in the breath. It's in the breath. A horse, this is actually proven, scientifically proven, a horse can tell if you are holding your breath. They can feel your heart racing. So if you're doing that, do they want to be in your space? No, they're going to go, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to be eaten. I'm getting out of here. So we learn how to control those things. We learn how then to control our brain, start rewiring it, control our breathing, open our hearts more, and we become more congruent with in our own lives just by hanging out with horses. So when we're in a space of fight and flight, when our brain has told us to be aware of something that could be at risk, it's okay to be aware of those things. I mean, that's why that part of our brain is there, and we need to honor that part of our brain, because it might be right. Somebody might have walked through the door who's really angry, and you've already sensed that before the person has even spoken, and you might want to leave the situation. So we need to honor that part of our brain, but it's how long we spend in that part of our brain, how long we want to stay in that fight or flight, and if we need to have that need to tell our story over and over and over and over again, and keep that program running. So my advice to people who have a little bit of trauma in their life and they feel like they're in that fight and flight a lot, it's how long you stay there and give yourself reason to come out of that. So say, oh, I see that there could be a potential problem here. There could be a potential threat to me. I'm going to take a step back, I'm going to take a breath, and I'm going to check in with other parts of my body, check in with other parts of my brain, just not my reptilian brain. Because it might be just a little bit oversensitive. So take that step back, take that breath, assess how you feel in your heart, how you feel in your intuition, and then make a response from there. Instead of reacting, we then can respond. When we're aware that our reptilian part of our brain has popped up and gone, be aware, we can then make a response instead of that instant reaction. The strength and the power and the beauty of the horse is that if you had a picture of a horse, if you're really connected with horses through even a photo, just have a photo and admire the things in the horse. Look at it and go, wow, look at that beautiful tail, look at that beautiful mane, look at those muscles. How amazing is that? And then maybe do your own little horse meditation, and you can go into that realm of put some nice music on and just feel what it might be like to be with that horse. Feel what it might be like to touch that horse's muscles. Feel what it might be like to run your hands through his mane and his tail. And just feel that raw, beautiful energy that they have to offer and what gifts he might have to offer. Notice I've said he. I'm thinking of a particular horse when I say that. I'm like perfectly, triggered my brain into one of my horses. And he is all of those things. He's so wise and he's so grounded. And so just a picture can trigger that off. Going back to nature, it doesn't necessarily have to be with horses. I've had experiences like this with cows. Being a ranch girl, I always had cattle around me, and I've had some beautiful, wonderful animals in my life that have supported me to get to this place of just relaxed and being and more connected with nature. So out in nature, Mother Earth has all the answers for us. If you can get to a park, if you can get somewhere to hug a tree or just go sit at the base of a tree and just focus on your breath, you're accessing ancient wisdom. So the benefits of being in the horse energy and power of the horse, the wisdom of the horse, there are so many benefits. So many benefits. More connectedness, so much more connectedness. A resilience. You have to build up a little bit of resilience, because when you go into the horse world, you're going into their world, not our world. And their world, if you're in with a few horses in the same paddock, their world is a little bit structured different to ours. So you have to build up a little bit of resilience to be in that energy around them. They also offer us just guidance, gentle guidance. I have one beautiful mare at home, and she just guides people so beautifully. She'll just use her nose if she needs to. If a student is leading her, she'll use her nose to guide them where they need to be, rather than where they think they need to be. They're out in front of her, and she does, she prefers people to be by her side, to walk with her, not to walk in front of her, because she's a lead mare. So she'll gently guide them to her side. So they offer guidance. They offer us that ability to look outside of ourselves. And we need to do that. To find ourselves, we need to look outside of ourselves. We need to be able to see the beauty in other things, and then we can then look at the beauty within ourselves. And we need that ancient wisdom that horses have, that they've had for thousands of years. They just are ancient wisdom. We need that in our lives to guide us now now more than ever, to guide us into our future. Get back to what's simple, get back to what matters. Get back to those things that open up your heart. Horses open up our hearts. They open up our essence, they open up our joy, and they offer that with nothing in return. They just offer it because they are awesome. And so with the students that come through, they come through my gate. Anybody who comes through my gate is able to access all the wisdom of the horse through the programs that I offer. And I work with at-risk youth. Not just at-risk youth, but other people as well. But my focus is at-risk youth, because I was an at-risk youth, and so that's kind of my forte. So the kids who come through the gate are put through a program. The first program is called the Foundations for the Future, and it's where they learn about themselves through the eyes of the horse. They learn about what they can build on. They learn that they can be powerful without being aggressive. They can be present. That's a big one for kids, where so many children are in their computers and in their devices and in these other realms of entertainment, that they don't know how to be present and connected in the moment. So horses demand that of us, actually. They really do. So that strengthens that skill. They learn how to be emotionally agile. That is a gift that everybody on the planet needs to keep focusing on. How to become emotionally agile, what does that mean? And how to just roll with my emotions. I don't have to go down that deep, dark rabbit hole of yuckiness. I can stay above that and kind of access information about myself from an observer's point of view. So they learn how to do that. They also learn what we call the dance. And the dance is a process of being able to wield your power appropriately and use your energy to guide the horse into a dance with you. They do that to their own piece of music on the ceremony day. They choose their own piece of music, because music is so important in this. Resonance, vibration, horses love music. It offers them that chance to they get into a little bit of a groove with what they're doing with their children, which is fantastic. And the parents are invited to come for the ceremony day. And the parents see their children through eyes that they haven't maybe seen them through for a long time. And that, to me, is the most important part. The music, of course, evokes emotion, and emotion opens hearts. And the parents observe these children doing amazing things with their horses. They observe them connected, kind, resilient, and able to go with the flow of what the horse is offering, because none of this is about telling the horse what to do. It's about connecting as a team and seeing what unfolds. And so they observe this, their hearts are opened, and I believe it offers a good place to start a new relationship with their children. So it's just learning new ways of being with our children, new ways of being with your little foal, different ways of doing it. And if you feel like you are diminishing anyone, take a step back and take a breath and reassess. Get out of the reptilian brain. Get into that mammalian heartfelt space and go, whew, wait a minute, this is my child. Does my child deserve this? No, they don't. They're pure. Let's start seeing them that way. Let's start parenting differently. Let's start learning and becoming more aware and raising our vibration. And horses teach us this. Through the wisdom of the horses, I'm really passionate about supporting people to just getting back to their authentic selves, getting back to who they were meant to be as little children, accessing that divinity in us. And the more space and the more time and the more wisdom that I'm learning from my horses still, the more I'm finding where I'm not being those things. So just keep realigning yourself. Find what fits. It might not be horses. It might be cows. It might be sheep. It might be dogs and cats. Whatever. Every animal on this planet has been here a long time, and they have a lot of wisdom for us. So just connecting. Go into their world. Don't expect them to come into our world. That's not where the gift is. The gift is going into their world, going into their universe and attempting to see things through their eyes. That's where the magic is. It's also the magic with your families, with your children. Go into your child's eyes. Don't expect your child to come into your environment, into your space, into your mind. Go into theirs. That's where the beauty is. That childlike play. Sit and watch baby goats playing. It brings joy to everybody. If you can't access a baby goat or a baby horse or any baby animal, get online and access it online. Everything's out there in the universe for us to access now. So access it and fill your cup up with joy and happiness.